Okay. So recently, I've started making sort of Blender pictures of various higher beings, especially demons. I'm doing this because these demons are showing themselves to me and inspiring me to make them. And it's funny because I've had the designs of a lot of these demons for a long time, but I didn't really know what they meant. And then these beings have shown themselves to me, and at the very least, they wanted me to understand that through these, like one creature, one demon, I drew him when I was like, 14 or something? And then recently I saw him in a vision, which is funny. I think, when I was a teenager, I would sort of have these experiences with these beings, but I wasn't having them, so consciously. So then it was I would draw them and not really have any way to realize what they are. I was just, quote unquote, fascinated with monsters. I think this is it's really fascinating to think about, the average person. Why are you fascinated with something? What's really going on there, that even in a small fascination is a great spiritual potential. Everything is a portal. I've also been finding lately that, depending on what I watch on TV, that there's a lot more powerful of activation in my life from what I watch on TV. Basically, my consciousness is much more quickly consuming and outputting what I see. So that's really powerful. Something I'm really proud of in my occult practice that I've been able to achieve. Manifesting things quicker is a big thing. I think there's a little bit of a misconception, or at least as a beginner, you kind of get the sense that you see a couple things manifest, and you kind of get the sense that, you can manifest anything that you want, and you can have anything and everything you want. It's not so much that. I think the best thing is if you can see action-reaction quite fast, you can understand that your consciousness is getting to higher levels. The longer it takes to see your manifestations, the worse it kind of is for you. And of course there's so many things to consider on that front, but and there's this sort of push and pull between manifestation and alchemy, Venus and Mercury. So I've been thinking about that lately. But yeah, I'll say by making these images of these demons, these spirits, I've felt such a flow of energy into my life and things getting better. And I've heard this is how it goes with Goetic, that you give offerings and then the demons give you goodies. With demonolatry, especially. Mostly I've just felt inspired and happy to make these images. But I can see the offering and what it returns is it's very potent, and I'm very happy with that. So I'm probably going to keep doing it. I'll have to say, Goetic beings really kind of take care of me and teach me in a way that I like to be taught. I feel with when you're working with angels or Hindu deities or something like that, there tends to be a little bit more of a this is my school of thought sort of thing adapt to me. But the Goetic beings are a little more subtle, and you just sort of end up falling into things, which I actually prefer. Things just start manifesting a certain way. And I think this is because there are more, well, if it's true that these beings live in subterranean realms, it means that they're more related to the manifesting rather than those beings that are in, say, the heavens that are related to aether, thought, conceptualization, the mental, etc. They're in the air, as it were, and subterranean beings are literally in the earth. So, I've been considering this. They've been showing me this. It's not exactly that they're in some sense enemies with other beings elsewhere, but it's not as if they're completely. The dichotomy of angels and demons isn't so clear. That's like a Christianization type thing. But, of course, the Goetia isn't preoccupied with demons per se. They're called demons, but it seems to be more of a snapshot of just the particular gods that were opposing Israel at the time. And King Solomon erected temples to Moloch and one other god whose name I forget. So if the Goetia is originally coming from him, as the name suggests, the lesser key of Solomon, then it's reasonable to it's interesting. It's very interesting. So he trapped some demons, but he built temples to others. I also heard a story just one time, I don't know if it's true, that when he made the big vessel and threw it when he made the big vessel that's talked about in the Goetia, that he threw it into the ocean to trap all of the world's evil forever. I mean, evil. I don't know if these beings are really that evil. They seem to be more, like they were just enemies of Israel at the time, I suppose. But, then some other, like after he died, they fished it out of the water so they could use these powers again. They're like, oh, these spirits built the Temple of Solomon. What wonderful things could they do for us? So that's something I'm wondering about. Damien Eccles' take on the vessel that they were kept in is that the vessel is a metaphor for the practitioner of the magic. I think this is part true. I've experienced that myself in my own practice, but I suppose there probably was a real vessel. Yeah, okay, now